families, creating a lifetime of memories. Sadly, some families are denied these important moments due to the sad practice of alienation. These are families divided.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Families Divided TV. In this presentation, Sally Harris explores the multifaceted theme of healing from within, the transformative power of self-forgiveness, encompassing perspectives from both Christian faith and broader self-forgiveness practices. By delving into the essence of forgiveness and self-forgiveness, Sally unveils her profound impact on personal growth, emotional well-being, and relational harmony. This was a very uplifting presentation, I must say personally, that it really was. And I'm sure you're going to get a lot out of it. We're going to be right back with Sally Harris right after this important message. Hello, everyone. I'm Elaine Cobb. I'm founder and president of Family Access Fighting for Children's Rights. I'm also founder, host, and executive producer of Families Divided TV. I want to invite you to our upcoming fall conference, which is virtual and international. It will be the very last one that we ever have, and it's going to be an incredible 2-day event, and I hope you'll join us. Normally we do the topics, where it's just one topic specifically. But this time, I said, you know what, we need to branch it out a little bit. And so I asked you to send in what you thought were very important topics to you. And so that's what we're going to be using and speaking on. We have two keynote speakers. Our first one is Dr. Edward Crook. And he, as a favor to us, we had asked him if he could do a study on grandparents who have never met their grandchildren. And there's never been a study on this. It's always in court or in the legislature if you've had some kind of a relationship with your grandchild. Well, hello, there's many of us out there who have never seen their grandchild, including myself and my husband Chester, who we've never seen our granddaughter Dare, who's now 13. So this is an incredible, extensive study that he's taken over a year to do, and we've recorded it now. And this presentation, I will tell you, is off the chart. It is incredible. It's awesome. I mean, I could just keep going on and on. He's going to give us much information, and he's also going to get this peer reviewed, get it ready to be got out there with lots of different places, and it's going to help. We'll be able to use this in court. We'll be able to use this in the legislature, and it is huge, very, very important. So I hope even those grandparents who have met their grandchildren will he's also going to talk to you as well. So you're not going to be left out. So if you are a grandparent, you do not, I repeat, do not want to miss this conference, because this is really, really great. So please, be there. His presentation is entitled The Eraser of Grandparents from Children's Lives. We're going to also have Bill Eddy as our other co-host and our keynote speaker. And he's going to be speaking to us on court trends, the trouble with letting the children decide. Some states and court systems are considering letting children as young as 14 years old have the right to make decisions about whether to have a relationship with one of their parents. He's going to be speaking to us about this. And, Bill Eddy's with High Conflict Institute. He's written numerous books. He's got a new one out now, as you know. And you're not going to want to miss this one. This is a really good one. It's important that we know about all that. We're also going to have Dr. Joshua Coleman, who works with alienated and estranged parents of adult children. And he's very well known out there all over the world. And he's going to be speaking to us about reaching out to your alienated or estranged child, the do's and don'ts that you need to be doing. I get emails all the time from you guys wanting to know, what should I do? Even on our Families Divided comments, I get all that. he's going to let us know right here. So you want to be able to be there for that too. Dr. Sue Kornbluth will be presenting as well in this conference, and she's going to be speaking to us on managing personality disordered co-parents who alienate their children. Now, we haven't done a whole lot on co-parenting. We may have 3, I think, episodes on families divided. So this will be huge for those of you that have to co-parent and you're dealing with people who have major personality disorders. So Dr. Kornbluth is going to share much with this on that. And Dr. Mary Alvarez is going to be speaking to us on a very interesting topic. It's going to be called parental alienation, the toxic stress in your child's brain. And nothing is more important than our child and what they're going through this. They are what matters through all of this in the world of alienation. As we know, alienation is child abuse. And she's going to share some very interesting things. She's done a great study on this, so you're not going to want to miss that. Chris Turner is going to be speaking to us on trusting and understanding agents of court guardian ad litem, amicus therapists, psychologists, parenting facilitators, and court-appointed professionals. She's going to tell you, give us some information because it can get really overwhelming to us as we have to deal with these people. She's going to give us some great advice on that as well. And then Dr. Kelly Baker is going to be speaking to us on the therapeutic interventions for parent-child contact problems with teens. We've never, and I'm sad to say that, we've never done anything with teens. So this one's going to be huge. And Dr. Baker's really doing an intense study on it, and it is going to be good, but it's really going to help you as an alienated or targeted parent and how to deal with this with your teenager. We also have Melanie Gill with us, and she's going to be speaking on Liar, Liar, Pants on Fire. We deal with a lot of this in court with lots of things that are said that are not true. And, Melanie's really been through the mill over there, so to speak, in the UK. And she's going to be helping us in sorting out this important info. Also, Dr. Kathleen Ray from Canada will be speaking to us on understanding the realities of a reunification program, dispelling common misconceptions. There's a lot of lies and fake news out there on this, and she's going to share and help us to understand what is factual and what is false. And so you don't want to miss this one either. Then Attorney Chris Turner will be with us. He's going to be sharing secrets to litigating parental alienation allegations. Chris is one of the best attorneys, and I've dealt with many over the 13 years, and he truly is like at the top for me. He really cares about you guys, and first and foremost, he cares about you. And he's, a lot of attorneys, I've got to say, sadly, are out for the bucks, but Chris isn't one of them. And he's going to be sharing a lot with us on this, so please don't miss out on it. Also, Randy Fine is going to be speaking to us about confronting the mirror. Do narcissists face their own reflections? That is a very interesting question, and Randy will be sharing with us on that. Also, we have with us Dean Tong. He has a really great presentation on false allegations of abuse, navigating the 3-ring circus, and he's really knowledgeable on all of this and dealing with CPS and all of them. So he'll share much info for you and how to deal with all of that. And then, to me, this is really the most important part of the conference, I think. Caden's Law has pretty much destroyed or tried to destroy our families. Well, we're going to have with us Dr. Lynn Steinberg, Yakov Achamam, and Robert Gaza with us. And those 3 are going to be doing a panel discussion. And they all 3 have all different perspectives on all about Caden's Law and what to do and how we can go around it and how we can defeat it and help get our families back together in ways that we can. Many of you in the States really need to be paying attention to this. I'm going to tell you that as a parent and as a grandparent, if we don't stand up and fight for our children and our grandchildren, we can just about wrap it up and forget about it. So you can't sit back and say, "Oh, I wish they'd come help us over here," and all that. Get up and get it done. Help everybody. You don't have to be, a college degree or any of that. You just gotta have the heart and the zeal that you wanna get up and fight for your own kid and your own grandkid. So, uh, be a part, make it happen, and come and learn from this. Uh, you can submit your questions, and, uh, we're gonna have questions for all different presentations and especially for this. So, we want you to do that. So don't miss out on that, please. That's gonna be really important. I also want to emphasize that this will only be, again, through only the Zoom, Family Access Zoom. That will be the only way you can be a part of this 2-day event. But I also want you to know, and this is very important, if you cannot make the 2-day event, that's fine. We'd love for you to be there in person, but we understand everybody's lives are busy. So take the time and register, and you have between that following Monday, the 7th of October, till the end of December to view it. We'll have that for you available. And here's the secret: if you do register and you do come to the event, you can watch it as many times as you want. So that's going to be a special that I'm giving my gift to you that way, because this will be our absolute last conference that we ever have. So you will have plenty of time to view it as many times as you want. And I hope you will take advantage of it and do just that, because we feel like these topics are so very important and we want you to be a part of it. We're also on Sunday night, we're going to be having, after the conference, we're going to have from 7 to 9 a time where you can meet together and share your testimonies. If you want to share your stories and stuff, that's fine. And we're also going to be making a support group out of that as well. So come for that. And then on Saturday night from 9 p.m. until 7 a.m. Sunday morning, we're going to be having what we call the one-on-one chat room, which I lovingly call the Chatty Cathy group. Uh, these people have a great time at these. We've done these every international virtual conference. They get together, and I do not understand how in the world they can chat half the night online and get back in the morning for the conference, but they're doing it. But it's a great time to really open your heart, share your experiences, give each other ideas on what's important to you. We do everything we can to make this the best it can be for you and being supportive to you. I really hope that you will come and you will join us for this very important, incredible event. And also, I will be announcing to you something very special at the end of our conference. So please come, please register. You've still got time, and look forward to seeing you there. Take care. God bless.
Divorce and co-parenting are a major life interruption for families, especially the kids, but also for parents and grandparents. And it's even worse in blame-filled, high-conflict cases. When parents engage in alienation by turning the kids against the other parent or grandparents, kids suffer. They're denied the opportunity to build the 4 big skills necessary for future resilience. New Ways for Families online class can help. Parents learn to use our popular BIF and EAR skills to calm the conflict and stop the hostile emails and texts. And we even have a class for kids and parents to learn together. Research shows a 75% improvement in joint parental decision-making after this course is taken, plus overall improvements for kids' well-being. Don't wait to make this affordable investment in your children's future and improve your well-being too. Start learning new ways for your family today at conflictplaybook.com.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this presentation. Thank you so much to Elaine. And thank you to you parents who are investing time in yourself to learn more, just tactics and things to help better your own life during this difficult process you're going through. So I just want to welcome you. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sally Harris, and I too am a mom who walked a difficult road with my own daughter for over a decade. And I know how difficult it can be. And when her life spiraled, so did mine. And I hope that doesn't happen with you or get you back on the road of having more hope. So today I want to talk about forgiveness overall. So I'm excited to share with you about the healing and what that can bring from within and what that could look like. And it took me a long time to learn firsthand how this works. And this is why I love absolutely helping others and walking alongside them to be able to find that hope that is easily lost at times when we're going through this. All right, so this passage here in the Bible in Matthew, I'll read that. Matthew 18:21 says, Jesus says, then Peter came to Jesus and asked, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times? Jesus answered, I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. And that can feel overwhelming, right? Especially if you're not familiar with the word. I know it certainly confused me when I first read it, but really it just emphasizes the importance of forgiveness in the Christian faith. And just as God forgives us, we're also called to forgive others, right? Including our kids and others that have done wrong, maybe done us wrong, or have just hurt us. And so maybe forgiveness of others is not your struggle, right? Maybe you don't really have, resentment or the longing feeling of unforgiveness necessarily for your son or daughter. Maybe, which is many times, is maybe the person that you are unable to forgive is yourself. And that is what we're going to talk about today. All right, so self-forgiveness is life-changing. It really, really is. And why is this so important? Because some of you that follow me may know part of the reality of my situation, my daughter's story, bits and pieces of it. But, my daughter was trafficked. And I learned why self-forgiveness can be so life-changing. And I want to share a little bit of story with you. But I learned during that time when she had been trafficked, I then ended up volunteering for an organization called Sail of Freedom. And by learning so much through them, I found out that 92% of survivors of sex trafficking report being sexually abused as children. That's a super high statistic, right? So you can only imagine what was going on in my brain. How could this have happened to my daughter, right? Now you're telling me 92% of people who've been trafficked, boys and girls, were sexually abused as children. So you can just imagine, I went through years, and I mean years, of racking my brain on who could have hurt my daughter, how this could have happened, how could I have possibly missed something so drastic? And mind you, at this time, we were still estranged. We're not anymore, praise God. But I had so much guilt and shame that how could I have missed something like this? And so fast forward, I find out through my daughter's book, as well as obviously conversations with her, but that 92% statistic was still only 92%. My daughter was in the 8%. Praise God for that. So while I certainly had things I had to forgive myself for, I was not a perfect parent. None of us are. And if you've ever met one, let me know. But I tormented myself, and I allowed the enemy to torment me for something that was a lie. And this is not to speak ill of you if any of you were made aware of this happening to your child years later, right? Trust me, I have tons of clients and friends who have gone through that. And my heart goes out to you and to your children. But a lot of you have overcome that, I hope. But we need to forgive ourselves. Sometimes we know we're commanded to forgive others, but we forget that self-forgiveness piece. So we need to let go of that guilt, and God can do that for you, right? So self-forgiveness is life-changing for several reasons. Number one is emotional freedom. It is going to break you free from literal shackles. That's what it feels like, of guilt and shame and self-condemnation, right? Which is going to allow you to experience inner peace and emotional freedom long-term for your own life. Number two is personal growth. Self-forgiveness can also open the door to personal growth beyond what you could have ever imagined, and transformation. There's that saying where everyone wants the transformation, whatever it is, but nobody wants to do the work to get there. And we've all done that, right? But when we confront and accept whatever mistake we may have made or whatever we're holding on to, we can gain those valuable insights and learn from those experiences, right? It makes us much more self-aware, and learning from past experiences is key to growth. We know that. We've all made mistakes in our own life and hopefully have learned from those. And number three is improved relationships. So it's going to impact, when self-forgiveness comes into play, it's going to impact your other relationships for sure, because you're going to have more compassion. You're going to have more forgiveness even towards others when you have examined yourself and gone through this and surrendered it. So when individuals such as yourself, whether you're a mom or a dad, doesn't matter, but when we extend grace and forgiveness to ourselves, then we are better equipped to extend that same grace to others. So that is definitely a very important perk of this, right? Number four is your enhanced well-being overall, just as a person, because when we forgive ourselves for things, statistics even show that it's going to improve your mental health, your emotional health, your physical well-being overall. All the research suggests that self-forgiveness is associated with reduced stress, and self-esteem comes in there, and overall life satisfaction, and really a lot of our self-worth, which is a whole nother topic. But lastly, in regards to how this is so life-changing and can be for you, is the spiritual connection with our God, with our Savior. Because it does, and it will deepen your connection with your faith, which is, in my opinion, the best bonus of all. This quote, forgiving yourself is as important as forgiving others. Guilt is toxic. Reliving the mistake over and over. Love yourself, forgive yourself, be true to yourself. How you treat yourself sets the standard for how others will treat you. We teach people how to treat us, right? I love that quote. So what does self-forgiveness look like? What does it look like? Like everything, we need to acknowledge any wrongdoing within ourselves, whether we share that with someone or it's just between us and God. But it begins with the acknowledgement, right? So facing that reality of past actions and just being honest and open. And we need to face the facts head on. Just face the reality. And reality is hard to face sometimes, especially when we're going through estrangement or alienation. But we have to face what does our reality look like today? And then always keep that hope too. That doesn't mean it's going to look like this way forever. We just don't know. So taking responsibility is key. So taking the responsibility for the actions, recognizing what impact did it have on you, what impact did it have on others, and owning up to those consequences. Some 12-step programs will tell you to, make amends with others. If that's what you need to do, to be able to literally make amends with someone else, whether it be in the written word or a phone call or whatever, then absolutely do that, right? Sometimes maybe that's not appropriate depending on who that person is and what they've done. But seeking God's grace overall. So for those of you with a Christian faith, self-forgiveness involves seeking God's grace and mercy, free gifts that we have from Him. And it's about recognizing our imperfections and trusting his unconditional love and forgiveness. So it's literally just taking those free gifts that he gives us that many times we leave on a shelf. We forget we have them. So letting go of that guilt and the shame, and self-forgiveness also entails, it will allow you to release, like I said earlier, the guilt and the shame and the self-condemnation, which associated with any past mistake. Just remember where condemnation comes from. The enemy brings condemnation, but God brings conviction in a good way, which is just awareness. It's just that aha, like, that one hit me today, right? Maybe I need to really, think about that, pray about that, whatever that is. But you're not meant to have condemnation for anything. So we see the importance of self-forgiveness, right? And all the benefits that we get. But what happens if we don't? What are the symptoms? These are the symptoms mostly that I see when moms come to me for coaching. This is what I see when they have not practiced self-forgiveness yet. Number one is persistent guilt and shame. And I mean persistent. They think they surrender it, but they keep taking it back. Just like we have to surrender our children during this time, we have to stop taking it back. We have to, even if we have to surrender it 50 times a day or 100 times a day, that's okay. But we need to do that and not take it back. And over time, it will be easier to do that. But the persistency is just amazing. And that self-condemnation, until that's worked through, that's that chronic stress, anxiety, and low self-esteem and low self-worth. So over time, that turns into massive emotional distress, right? So maybe that's you or someone like you're going to struggle to find peace. You're going to struggle to find any joy. You're going to struggle to find happiness in your lives overall because you remained almost trapped in negative emotions. And that was me. I wasn't able to find any joy. I had depression, resentment, bitterness, just you name it. It was just so negative. It was so negative. And it does strain your relationships. It does all of these things because your relationship with yourself is a direct correlation to your relationship with others, which in turn will lead to conflict, misunderstandings, and distance. That's why the divorce rate is so high when you have estranged children. But sometimes we hold on to things from our past. And sometimes I know a lot of guests on this show talk about it, and I love that. But a lot of it is from our own childhood. It might not even be about your son or daughter. It's about yourself from long ago. And that will affect the relationship with our own kids. You also may find yourself feeling like you're self-sabotaging or self-destructing. Those are your behaviors. Like you resist growth, you resist change, you fear you're, almost unworthy of improvement because you just feel stagnant, right? And then lastly, the physical health impacts of not having forgiveness in your life, those prolonged feelings of guilt and shame. I know firsthand what that does to you physically. I experienced it all. I mentioned, I think in the last video I did here, I turned to alcohol for my comfort. It wasn't comfort. That was a counterfeit comfort. I thought it was a comfort because it was numbing my pain, right? Well, then there's physical health impacts. Maybe not day 1 or day 10 or maybe even day 30, but it doesn't take long and it's a very slippery slope. So stress-related illnesses, I had that as well. Cardiovascular problems, I had that as well. Compromised immune functions, stress does that almost immediately to us, right? So we really need to be mindful of the importance of all of that. So we've talked here about the steps to self-forgiveness. We've talked about some ways to accomplish it, but the biggest thing I want you to take away from this today is that you realize that you want to be set free from stuff. You need to forgive yourself for whatever that is, XYZ. And can I just say that some of you are holding on to things that are not even yours to carry. I did that, right? As I shared earlier, it wasn't mine to carry, but also it wasn't even real. Did I have any proof of that? I didn't. And I had no proof. There was no proof, but I stressed about it anyway. So I want for you to be able to release that and surrender that, and God will bless that in your life in one way or another because He wants you free. He's not the one holding you in bondage, right? He's just sitting there waiting for you to release your burdens to Him so He can say, finally, my amazing daughter, my amazing son, like, you get it. Release your burdens to me because I've got you. And so many times, including myself, God was sometimes not first on my list. I was angry. And that may be where some of you are. And He's got big shoulders. And there's no condemnation. He wants you to talk to Him in the good times and in bad. So I want to emphasize that self-forgiveness is a process. For some of you, it may happen overnight. For some of you, it might not. But I want to encourage you to have patience and persistence in practicing all of this. And also remind you that seeking support from a trusted friend, a counselor, a mentor, a coach will be life-changing during this process. So you can do this yourself and just you and God through prayer. You can do journaling. There's exercises, which we will go into next, and or finding a support system. And I just want to share here what's possible when you find a support system. Whether it's mine or someone else's, it doesn't matter. I just want you to know that there's hope. So this is one of my moms that I served in my group coaching. And you can see, you can find joy amidst the pain, right? I mean, I won't sit here and tell you that it's easy, and you already know that. If you've been watching the channel for a while here, you know it's not easy. But holding on to unforgiveness of others and yourself is blocking the joy and the fulfilling life that you can still have amidst the pain. And this one here, some of you are alienated from your kids, and some are navigating a tumultuous relationship, right? Sometimes one leads into the other, and sometimes it doesn't. But this mom too, like you, she's learned to set boundaries. And for the record, like I'm sure you've heard others say, boundaries are not walls. They are fences with gates. That was one of the hardest things for me when I had to implement the tough love with my daughter. This was a few years back, obviously, but I always felt like I was a horrible mom for putting up boundaries. So I had to forgive myself for that too, for feeling that way. I had to do it to protect myself at that time. And at that time, I knew I needed to do it for health reasons even. So what do we do with all of this, right? I have an exercise that I would encourage you to do. This is a forgiveness letter exercise. So as you see here, here's some guidelines for it, but I'm going to just walk you through this, and I want to encourage you to do this. And I'm also going to send Elaine a link for you to be able to access that as well if you don't want to jot all this down. But first and foremost, set aside some quiet time by yourself, just a quiet, comfortable space where you can reflect without distractions. Put your phone away, put your computer away, do this in pen if you can. And I want you to reflect on past mistakes. It might be when you were a child, it might be as a parent, it could be anything. But the ones that are nagging at you day after day, not the ones you think of just once a year, but the ones that are haunting you, literally. And you can reflect on specific mistakes, regrets, actions for which maybe you feel guilty or ashamed. But don't hold back, because this is just for you. Nobody's going to see this, right? So I encourage you to have that honest introspection about your emotions and thoughts that are all associated with these experiences. So write this letter to yourself in first person. I encourage you to express forgiveness and compassion like you would if it was a friend. How would you encourage your best friend? Right? You can take responsibility for things, but still use, words of kindness and understanding to yourself. Something you've probably never done before. It is so powerful. I know it may feel weird or unusual, but I promise you it's healing. And so express your emotions freely. Express them in the letter, whether it's sadness, like I said, regret, anger, any feeling associated. And again, this is for you, your eyes only. Nobody needs to see this. Practice self-compassion. Offer yourself the same level of compassion you would extend to a loved one. Release the self-blame. Release that self-blame. Let go of guilt and shame associated with past mistakes, because we can't change the past. Remember that forgiveness is a choice. You don't have to do this. It's a choice to free yourself, though, from the burdens of the past, and we all have them. And then I want you to reflect on lessons learned. I encourage you to reflect on that, because you are going to be able to use these lessons in your own life with others. This personal growth journey that you could be on, positive change journey, breaking addictions, whatever it is for you. But you get to decide what this is. And this really is there's a lot of healing that can be involved in this. But when you get done, you can keep the letter, you can burn the letter, you can do whatever you want with the letter, but you get to choose. But it really, sometimes people have a freeing effect of burning it, or, just ripping it up into shreds and throwing it away, or shredding it, whatever the case may be. But I know a lot of people in general have heard of this exercise. Some of you, I'm sure most of you may have heard of it, but few do it. So, but not you, because I know you've got this. And so I'm really curious. I would love to hear about your experience with it. When this is posted in the comments on Elaine's channel, I would love to hear it. So thank you so much for having me. God bless.
Next week on Families Divided TV, Dr. William Burnett will be speaking about misinformation echo chambers, false statements about parental alienation theory.